Hi, welcome to Cabbages Kings. We are here to do a two-part series on the basics of cooking. Today we're going to be making two sauces, a tomato sauce and a bechamel sauce, and we'll go into details of what you can do with those later. And next episode we'll be doing burgers, veggie burgers and beef burgers. I'm Keith Myers, I am the catering manager here at Cabbages Kings.
And I'm Casper, I'm the head chef here at Cabbages Kings.
Okay, so shall we get started and start on the tomato sauce? So these are the ingredients for the tomato sauce. Some of these ingredients are optional and you can switch them out for other ingredients if you wish. For example, first of all, we've got olive oil, which we like to use. You don't have to use olive oil, you can use sunflower oil or rapeseed or butter if you so wish. We have Leon's Worcestershire sauce. This does contain fish, so if you're a vegan or vegetarian, please avoid this. Chopped tomatoes, balsamic vinegar, pepper, and oregano. So again, the herbs are optional. You can change that out for basil or whichever you fancy.
So along the front here, we've got some brown sugar. Again, regular white sugar. Whether you've got in your cupboard will work well. We've got a red onion. Again, a white onion will work just as well, or even a shallot. We've got some pre-peeled garlic cloves. Generally, garlic cloves don't come pre-peeled. You can peel your own, or you can even buy garlic puree. We've got salt and then Parmesan cheese. Start by trimming the onion, removing any excess skin. Take off this end, firmly on the board. No fingers lost. So, finely dice the onion. And most of the way through, but not quite to the end, so it doesn't fall apart.
If you can see, his fingers are curled away and in from the onion. That way he's got no chance of cutting the end of his fingers off. It's the safest way to chop his onions.
So finely dice it.
You should consider chopping the garlic a lot finer than you chop the onions. I'm not sure if anyone's been into a clove of garlic before, but it's a bit of a flavour hit.
Just add a little bit of salt to the garlic. Help us break it down and bring out the flavour a little bit more. Let's work the garlic into the chopping board a little bit. The more you break it down, the more flavour you get out of it. A little goes a long way. So about a teaspoon of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. Just heat that up gently. It's nice and hot. So add in the onions and the garlic. Listen for the sizzle. So let the onions gently soften for a few minutes until they're nice and soft. A little bit of colour on them. So it's also important with all cooking, just add a little bit of salt and pepper as you go, every stage. So once the onions have softened a little bit, as you can see, we add in the tomatoes. We've just got a regular can of chopped tomatoes in tomato juice here. All of those go in. So while that's cooking, we're just going to add in a teaspoon of brown sugar, a teaspoon of oregano, give that a little stir. And here we've got a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar, that goes in there, and a teaspoon of C&K Worcestershire sauce. And mix in.
So when using herbs, if you're using dry herbs, it's better to put them in early so they can cook out and rehydrate and add the flavour. But if you're using fresh herbs, it's best to put it in near the end because the flavour will soften, go a bit not quite right.
Now, towards the end, we add in a teaspoon of tomato puree. This just helps to thicken and improve the flavour of the sauce. That extra tomato kick. Stir that in. Now we're just going to bring that to the boil and let it simmer for about 15-20 minutes till it's reduced and thickened, darkened in colour slightly.
So we've got the tomato sauce on a low boil at the moment, cooking away nicely. And we're going to move on to the bechamel sauce next, which is a white sauce, which is very basic. It's the first sauce that most chefs get taught, but you can turn it into a lot of different sauces, so it can be quite versatile when you need it. Okay, so for the bechamel sauce, there's a lot less ingredients. It's a little bit more work, but these are the ingredients here.
So you start off with butter, unsalted or salted work fine. If you're using unsalted, just add a little bit of extra salt later on. Got plain flour, bowl, and then we've got just regular milk, semi-skimmed, whole milk, will work fine. And then we've got a little squeeze of mustard, English mustard or a little bit of whole grain mustard if you're feeling adventurous. Salt, black pepper, and then we've added the optional blue cheese. As an optional one, you can add lots of different things. Stove, you've got a pan, you can add in 50 grams of butter. Just melt that gently. It's important not to overheat the pan, otherwise the butter will burn. So most of the butter is nearly melted now. That's all done. And then we just add in 50 grams of flour, exactly the same as the butter. Just mix that together gently. And that will form what is known as a roux. This helps to thicken and flavour the sauce. So we'll just cook this out for about a minute. That just removes any floury taste in the sauce. It's important to do it gently, not too hard, or it will burn to the bottom of the pan. So we've got 500 ml of warmed milk ready to go.
It's important to add the milk gradually, otherwise you might find yourself with a bit of a lumpy sauce. As you add the milk and stir it in, just wait till it's smooth and then add some more. As Kath will demonstrate.
I add just a little bit of milk at a time. Try not to spill too much, so it's a little bit difficult to start with. A bit of stir. And just keep adding the milk a little bit at a time. Start with your sauce will look like it's going to be really thick. It won't, don't panic. The sauce is starting to become a little bit more saucy now. It's not quite so thick.
It's important to do this process quite slowly, because if you don't cook out the flour, your sauce will taste of flour when you come to eating it.
So we're nearly there. Just add a little pinch of salt and pepper. Same with all the sauces, it's important to season at every stage.
And we'll probably use this sauce next week when we do our burgers.
All the milk is in. Now just cook that for a couple of minutes, just till it starts to bubble a tiny bit. And then we'll know that all the flour has been cooked out. There's no floury taste left in the sauce. And then we can add our flavourings of choice. So as you can see, the sauce is just starting to bubble gently. That means it's pretty much done. You can see it's a nice smooth consistency. There's no lumps. And there's no burnt bits on the bottom of the pan, which is good. So next, I'm just going to add a tiny bit of mustard. Probably around half a teaspoon. Just gives it a little bit of a depth of colour. A little bit of extra flavour in there. See, it's a little bit more yellow than it was, not quite so white. And then we're going to turn this bechamel into a blue cheese sauce for the burgers, which we're going to be making next week. So we're just going to add in around 75 grams of crumbled blue cheese. It's quite a strong flavour, so a little goes a long way. So it goes in there like that. Mix that together. So the sauce is now done. Thick, creamy, no lumps. So we'll take it off the heat. I'll leave that to cool for a little while. So while before the sauce starts cooling too much, I'm just going to take a little piece of parchment paper and just put this over the top of the sauce. It's called a cartouche, and that just stops the sauce forming a skin on top when it cools.
It's important to remember not to put hot things in your fridge, because it'll break your fridge, and B, also heat the products in your fridge, which could make them dangerous to eat.
So the pasta sauce has now reduced, thickened, thickened tamari. So we're going to be making a tomato and chorizo linguine today. So we're just going to add about 50 grams of sliced chorizo in. Just cook that through. When chorizos are cooked meat or cured, so it's important we heat that through to 75 degrees to avoid any food poisoning or upset tummies. Just let that cook for another couple of minutes. So our chorizo and tomato sauce now done. Heat through. So in this bowl here we have some freshly cooked linguine. It's nice and hot. Just going to add in some tomato sauce. We've used big tins of tomatoes here, so we've got a lot more than you'd have at home. So we just need a spoonful of that in there, like that. And then just taking a pair of tongs. Mix that all together like that. If you like it extra tamari, you can always add a little bit more. On personal preference.
Casper likes it a little bit more saucy.
I like a little bit more saucy myself, personally. So there you've got your tomato chorizo linguine. It just goes into the bowl like that. So for that authentic Italian finish, just add a little bit of parmesan. So that's your chorizo and tomato linguine finished. If you haven't got parmesan at home, a little bit of cheddar would also work well. And that's all done now.